Hello and welcome back to Anywhere But Here, episode 271. My name is Tom.
And my name's Zen.
And you can find us at abhpod.com, where when you scroll down on that after about 10 episodes or so, you can go. There is an Amazon banner. Yeah, sorry, I got to Stitcher and iTunes. How confusing. I shouldn't be doing that while I'm doing the intro. You can click through that Amazon banner and do your shopping as usual. It's the safest way to shop at the moment. You're not interacting with anyone at all. And we get 5% of your total basket spend. It doesn't cost you any more, and it doesn't change your shopping experience on the website at all. It just means that we get a little bit of that money that's squirreling away in tax evasion.
And if you don't want to allow them to evade taxes, or you just want to cut into Jeff Bezos' $1 trillion, you can click on the Patreon banner that's right next to the Amazon banner, or below it, or above it. No, above it, because Patreon's more important, and it helps us more because the money goes directly to us. It's just $1 a month, and you get extras. You get video episodes, which are exclusive for our patrons at the moment. You get the main episode without the intro tacked onto the front of it. You get After the Podcast, which are also exclusive to patrons. And you get spoiler casts as and when we record them, rather than waiting months down the line when we need filler episodes to go out on the feed.
Not that we're going to the cinema at the moment. But
no.
one day we'll be able to get back into the cinema. You can find us on all the social media platforms. We're on Twitter at ABH Pod and Facebook.com/ABH Pod. We're also on YouTube, as Anne said, at YouTube.com/ABH Podcast.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to hear us in different contexts as well, season 2 of Monsoon Jackson has dropped. Our episode has dropped as well. It's just search for it in your favourite podcast. Whatever you use, your podcast app. If you want to interact, if you want to let Andy know how you're enjoying it, I believe it's Leitmotiv Productions or Leitmotiv right. On Twitter. Leitmotiv, sorry, it's light, isn't it?
We've never been able to pronounce it.
We've not. But you can find him on Twitter anyway. I'm sure we've retweeted the tweets out somewhere as well. So just go and look for that.
Indeed. On this episode, we revert to an old school style. It's just me and Anne for this whole episode. So we kind of reverted to talking about the lockdown because, that's what's on at the moment. Yeah,
I mean, we've talked about things we've been watching. I also informed Tom of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remake. Indeed.
And I talk a little bit about my other podcast, Banned Biographies.
Enjoy.
As we were saying just before we pressed record, it's weird that I genuinely thought that I would be using this time to watch TV, like catch up on all. Like I've got a massive backlog of stuff on my planner and in my Netflix queue and everything else, and I'm just not watching any of it. Yeah, I watched Tiger King. I watched The Mandalorian. However, I didn't finish The Mandalorian because Disney Plus lied to me.
Oh, really?
We got a 3 months trial, and I was like, well, that's enough time to watch it. And then I got through, how many episodes are there? 8?
I'm not sure. I haven't watched it. It's not many, though, is it?
I think it's 8, and I got through to 6, and then Joe was like, well, we hadn't watched any of it for a while. We kind of got through some of the live action stuff that's come out that we didn't see in the cinema. Watched a few kind of classic and that thing, and then we didn't watch anything on it for like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
And so it was. So she was like, well, I'm not renewing it because there's no point. And I said, well, yeah, fine, because I've literally got 2 episodes of Mandalorian left. And she was like, right, well, it says that you've got until Monday, the whatever it was. And I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. And so I had the whole weekend, and then it got to Sunday, and I was like, oh, I haven't done that. I need to do that today. And Joe's out for a run, so I'm going to do that now. So I can just say I've completed The Mandalorian, logged into Disney Plus. No.
Can't. Oh, okay.
Like the day before they said that they were cutting us off, they cut off.
Yeah.
So I never got to the end of Mandalorian. Not that I'm that I'm not bothered really.
Was it not that good? No,
It's okay.
it's fine.
Like some episodes were good, some episodes were really quite boring, but
well, that's the thing. So I watched the first episode, and it didn't make me, like, on the whole, the episode didn't make me want to watch episode 2. The only bit that made me want to watch episode 2 was the final sort of set piece with the fight and the other bounty hunter droid, which I thought was a fantastic character.
That was cool.
But other than that, I was like, the whole episode was a bit weird. I'm like, what was that whole metal plate all about? And like, it was worth all this money and he had it made into armor. Like, where's the history of this? Like, it didn't explain it in the episode. Yes, you probably get to find out later on, but.
And if you're an extended universe fan or whatever, or you've watched the TV, the cartoons or whatever, then it's probably discussed there. But we're not those people, are we?
No. I like the main films. That's it. I like the
saga.
Well, the saga, but I did like Solo as well. And I really, really liked Rogue One. Possibly one of my favourite Star Wars films.
Rogue One, absolutely, I think it is, even better than a couple of the originals. I would say. Like, and then since then, I've got into creator mode with the podcast and stuff like that. And actually, what I've found, I also started exercising a lot more, and now I'm up to like the run the other day.
Oh no, you're breaking up. I missed what you said. There was like a big announcement there and I missed what it was.
No,
you've got up to
8K now.
Oh nice.
So
are you enjoying it yet?
It's not as much of a chore. I know it's once you get into that rhythm, it stops becoming.
So I think that's the best. I think that's quite an accurate way. It's not a chore to go running.
Yeah.
But what you're actually enjoying is seeing the progress rather than the running itself.
Yeah, when you start to kind of
you're enjoying challenging yourself and seeing if you can do better and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And also seeing the benefit physically and knowing that I haven't had a meltdown properly in a while, all that kind of thing.
Yeah. So mentally, like for your mental health as well, it's good.
Yeah.
I used to, with my running, it was sort of, okay, like a lot of the time I would listen to podcasts, which was really good. But then sometimes I would be like, do you know what? I'm going to go out for like 4 or 5 miles and I'm not going to listen to anything. It's just going to be me.
Okay.
Like, and just not listening to anything. Like, not even I can't listen to music when I run. For some reason,
oh really?
It messes. I don't know if it messes with my internal metronome because the music's going one speed and then I'm running a different speed, and it just sort of frustrates me. So it's if I'm not listening to podcasts,
I tend. Sorry.
That's right. If I'm not listening to podcasts, I'm running not in silence, obviously, because of traffic noise and like feet hitting the ground, but just time alone and just thinking about stuff. Whatever pops into my head, just contemplating it and thinking about it, and I miss the long runs. I do miss the long runs.
I don't know whether... I think once I get to 10, I don't think I'm going to go any further than that.
No, 10K is a great distance. I really enjoy it. 5 and 10K. Like, the marathon was like a challenge, but like 5 and 10K was just like a perfect distance for me. Interestingly, Loz messaged me last night actually with a screenshot from Strava saying that he's just done his first half marathon.
Yeah, in my kind of old school friends WhatsApp group, he posted that in there this morning as well.
So, and I just said to him, like, I haven't run that far in over a year now.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? I mean, if you've got that target to work through, that's cool. But as soon as you don't have that marathon target to work to anymore, I suppose it's like, well,
it's just injury as well. Like my niggling, it's not my knee. I think it's like the tendon that runs from the hip to the knee. Or hip to the top of the shin, and it's just like scarred up now. So if I run sort of like 3-4 miles, it just really hurts for like 2 days afterwards, and it's just not worth it.
That's it. Yeah, I've started to pick up the odd strain here and there, and then I give it a couple of days off because I don't want to get injured like that.
That's the right way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe at the moment. Joe's really bad for that kind of thing. She'll kind of run through it and hurt herself more. She's done something to her ankle or shin or something, some tendon somewhere. We think
it's a pain because running injuries, you're never entirely sure where it is exactly.
No,
it's
that
weird, general area.
Yeah,
but I think one of the most important things, like talking to my when I went for sports massages and physio who used to work at the climbing centre, like I was talking where I go climbing, and I was talking to him. He's a physiotherapist. Was he? He was a physio, not an osteopath. And like both of them said, like it's really important to do like other exercises, like resistance exercises, to support all the muscles and the tendons in those areas.
Yeah,
it's like really important to do glute works because that's your muscle that you engage when you're running. That's the one that's. I used to run. I think it was even my thighs and my calves would engage first rather than my glutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of where a lot of my injuries come from because I was using the wrong technique.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's like they gave me a list of exercises to do, and they were helping when I was doing them, but I'm not disciplined enough to do them regularly. So.
Yeah, no, tell me about it. I mean, I only am because I am doing this Joe Wicks thing as well.
Oh, are you doing the morning workouts?
Yeah, I tend to. I've been doing that for, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks now.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the reason that I haven't injured myself as much as I could have.
Yeah. So I remember like early on when you were doing them, and like you were saying they were completely kicking your ass. Those workouts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But have they got easier?
Oh yes, yeah. Again, it's
they haven't got easier.
No,
you got stronger.
Yeah.
You find them easier. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've kind of graduated onto the kind of adult ones as opposed to the PE lessons, but they're basically the same thing. Like they're just as hard a workout. But yeah, so it's weird that, like, you know, I think the last couple of days, because the weather hasn't been quite so nice, because that's another thing as well. The weather's been beautiful, so I've just sat outside and got myself a tan.
I probably would have done, but we were having work done in a garden.
Yeah.
Like,
your garden looks really nice.
Yeah. I would have got like really dusty and covered in shit if I had gone out there.
That's fair enough.
But now the garden's pretty much finished. The weather's turned bad, so.
Yeah.
Although it looks like it's going to be a nice day today, but there's a lot of wind.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? So the last couple of days we've spent we watched a couple of old films. We've watched a 1936 Jimmy Stewart one.
Oh, nice.
Called Vivacious Lady, which was really funny. And really funny. Yeah. And My Favourite Wife with Cary Grant from 1940 was one we put on the other day.
It's so funny, like listening, like all these old films, and it's like how they're centered around like women. Yeah. My Favourite Wife, Vivacious Lady, and
well, the weird thing is, like, the plots are almost entirely. They're kind of parallel as well, because the Jimmy Stewart one, he falls in love with this nightclub dancer who is played by Ginger Rogers.
Right.
When he's going out to bring his drunken playboy cousin back home.
Yeah.
When he gets back home, he marries her on the spur of the moment. And then when he gets back home, he has to try and kind of explain to his fiance and his family why he's now married to this other woman.
Right.
And My Favourite Wife is about Cary Grant getting married to this woman after his first wife has gone missing 7 years ago, presumed drowned on an exploration mission off Indochina. Right. And then all of a sudden she comes back the day after she's been remarried, and then he has to kind of choose between. So weird that they both have the same, like a parallel thing. They were both on the BBC this week.
Yeah.
And actually the iPlayer has got loads of kind of classic movies and stuff like that. Not just kind of 40s and 50s, but it's got a whole load of movies on there. It's probably worth having a look at if if you get around to that. But
I don't know if I've really watched anything like during this lockdown like that. We've massively got into.
Have we got a visitor?
No.
No. Okay.
Apparently. Oh, okay. Lizzie is at the shop, so I'm on dad duty, playing Frozen.
Oh, right.
Greg from the All Seeing Guys. He's playing Frozen. I don't think it means he's playing it on the TV for his daughter.
She's going to be Elsa, and he's going to be the other one.
I think so. Yeah. Anna. Sorry.
Yes.
I do know because I have a daughter. So, where was I? Yeah, we've sort of got into New Girl on Amazon Prime. We're watching.
Oh, right.
Which is really funny, actually.
New Girl. Which is that?
That's what's her name? Zoe Deschanel.
Right. Yeah,
Zoe
that's
Deschanel,
right.
Yeah. She's brilliant. Like, she's so funny.
Yes.
It's really silly. It's just a silly program. It's just great.
Is that the one with Kat Dennings?
No, that's
Two Broke Girls.
Yeah.
I get very confused. All those girls.
Yeah, so I don't know. We've not really. I mean, on my own, I'm watching on Disney Plus because you said about Disney Plus. I'm watching Disney Prop Culture. So it's about a guy, like a prop collector. He goes around and sort of like tries to find old props from films, which is really good. It's like a proper nostalgic thing going on. But yeah, we're not really watching anything as such. Like I'm doing the homeschooling thing with Chloe. I'm sort of doing my course as well. So that's what our days consist of. And in the evenings, we watch New Girl. It's like that is my day now.
I mean, the other thing that we're doing is watching a lot of kind of quiz shows and stuff, like and online quizzes and things like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because obviously we do our weekly get together with our sort of.
Yeah, that's the kind of nice highlight. Let your hair down part of the week. Actually, is the online thing with the guys.
And I'll tell you what, I understand this mentality now, where yes, it's fun to sort of have a drink and let go and sort of like have fun with your mates, but it is really fun to stay sober and watch everyone drink. Yeah. And watch people fall apart when you're recording, like, or when we're chatting.
Yeah, I wasn't too bad by the end of Thursdays, but I was certainly not sober. Not sober.
But it's good. It's good fun.
But I went for an 8K run the next morning, so I can't have been that bad, you know.
Ouch. Yeah.
So my argument to Jo was, because she'd gone upstairs like an hour and a half before.
Yeah.
My argument to her was, well, maybe I should just have 8 pints before or 8 cans before I go out on a run. Usually, like, it seems to be working for me.
Yeah, that's a really healthy mindset to get into.
Yeah. Figured I'd do 1K for each pint.
1K for each pint to get it out of your system. That's how it works. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Yeah. Yeah. So yesterday Liz lost her granddad. Start of the year, was it? Yeah. So yesterday was it end of last year? That's terrible that I can't remember.
This year's like that though, isn't it?
Yeah. Like what happened this year? Not a lot. So that must, But so yesterday we went down to Eastbourne to sort of clear some of the stuff out of the house. And Liz's mum was just kind of like, if there's anything you want in the house, take it. So we've now got a 4K TV and a sound bar with a sub. So it feels terrible, but it's like, what else was going to happen to it? Like,
yeah, exactly. I mean, that was what it was like with my.
I wanted to get a sound bar anyway. The TV was there. It's a little bit smaller, but it's 4K, and it's newer. So it just seems to make sense. We haven't set it up. We set the sound bar up, and we're just watching Kerrang this morning with it's
with bass.
With bass, yeah. Yeah, and it's so like you saying about BBC and like places like that having these films online. It seems like watch a Cary Grant film with like a fucking sound
with
bar
bass.
With bass. Yeah. Seems to make sense.
I mean, when we first got our soundbar, I think we only ever used it for films. We would turn it on specially for films. Now it's just on all the time. Yeah,
that's what we basically, this morning, it was Britain's Got Talent. Liz wanted to finish watching that, so we start that on with a soundbar. And it's just like, fine. So these emotional dance performances, like with the music just blaring out, sort of adds to the emotion.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I noticed with it was watching Formula One. Actually, it's like you literally hear the rumble strips.
Oh wow!
Because it's a bassy like. When they go over it in the cars, it's that was something that, and you can hear like almost like the friction between the tire and the tarmac. Like you can just hear more depth.
Yeah, you can feel it. It depends because we've got it set up. Because I, as far as I'm aware, because of the way bass works, it doesn't matter where you position the subwoofer in the room.
No.
So we've got our TV in front of us with the soundbar, and then the subwoofer's like next to the sofa, sort of behind us.
Yeah, right.
So it just sort of fills up the room, the bass. So we were just playing with it this morning. I put it on cinema mode where it just amplifies everything.
Yeah.
And like you could feel, like we could feel the floor vibrating. Like we didn't even have it up that loud.
You want to stick on Star Wars or something like that?
That's what I'm waiting for. Yeah, that's what I want to do. And I remember when I got what was the Star Wars game? Battlefront. And I was playing that, and I had my surround sound system set up for that. And it's when you get the I can't remember what the grenades are called now. The special grenades that sort of just go,
yeah, I know.
Got to do that noise, and like I can't. Yeah, that sort of thing would be great.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's it. It's film night tonight, or so
yeah,
gonna see what films we can stick on.
Yeah, the things with the most bombastic soundtracks.
Marvel films. Captain Marvel was one that I wanted to get.
Giant, earthquakey type films, stuff like that. Yeah, San Andreas or 2012 or something like that.
Yeah, I've also, unconnected, obviously, found like a projector on Amazon, like a nice. It's like quite a cheap price that's got really good reviews. So
right,
maybe
that might be a thing.
I doubt it. I'm not going to do that. I won't get away with that because let's be like more stuff. Where are we going to put it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so again, like the other thing, like we were sort of like you saying you were discussing, was you thought you'd be sitting down watching things.
Yeah,
like even news, like ingesting news and understanding what's going on with the world, but nothing. Like I don't pay attention.
I made a decision quite early on that watching the news all day, every day, was going to become quite damaging. And so probably during the first week of working from home or lockdown, I decided that I was only going to watch the daily briefing and the news after that, just once a day. And since then, it's gone down to nonce a day. I can't really be asked. I get my news now from the MASH report and Have I Got News for You?
Well, that's it. My news tends to just be like what articles are people sharing on Facebook.
Right, yeah.
And there was one the other day, and I shouldn't be surprised. Someone shared an article from The Sun. I think it was like, which one was it? Oh, yeah, Boris Johnson, like, what was it? It was like, kids or grandparents may be able to hug their grandkids next week or something. And I was like, what's that? So I clicked through and it's like, after Boris Johnson's briefing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So that was highlighted. So I was like, which briefing was this? Click that link. And it's like Boris Johnson's brief. And I'm like, so it's just clicking through. And it's just an endless cycle of articles from The Sun. None of them were like said which briefing it was and what he actually said. From what I gather, it was the one the other week where he said they're going to be easing lockdown. And it's like that. There was nothing about grandparents hugging their kids in that.
No.
So where the fuck did this information come from?
And someone
shared it on Facebook, and it's like they haven't read the article because I tried to read the article and it didn't say anything at all.
No. I mean, a friend of ours put a thing up on social media the other day about it was a link to I think it was a Daily Mail article. Again, you can't trust it, but it was talking about the possible ways the country is going to have to pay for this, and one of it was more austerity and no pay rises for staff and things
Yeah, I
like
remember.
that. And he got well up in arms about like the NHS staff not getting a pay rise and things like that. And another one of our friends was like, I never comment on your things, but for the love of God, read the article.
Yeah. Yes.
And again, it was just like he'd picked out one thing that he thought, or he'd read the headline.
Yeah.
But actually, if you read the article, it was one of a list of about 5 things that were being put forward by Rishi Sunak,
yes, because
Chancellor of the Exchequer.
I remember seeing that because you commented on it, and that person went, "Thank you for reading the article."
Yeah.
But and the other thing was, it's one of those articles that is designed to rile people up because. Yeah. Yes, that thing about the NHS staff not getting a pay rise or foot in the bill. Yes, that was one of the things. But if I remember rightly in the article, it was along with everyone else, NHS staff also won't get a pay rise. Yeah. But the way they posed it was like NHS staff aren't going to get a pay rise.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't just the NHS. It's everyone.
It was the whole. I think it was the whole public sector, wasn't it? Basically,
yeah.
It was anyone who works for the government or public. Public services.
And it makes sense. It's like anyone who gets paid by the government essentially is not gonna get a pay rise. Well, that makes sense because the government don't have any money because they've been helping people get through this.
I think it's something like, isn't it like 3/4 of all workers are now furloughed or something like that? There's some ridiculous amount. There's some ridiculous amount of people.
Who's paying them? The government. Yeah. Well, essentially, we're paying ourselves with our tax money that went to the government, you know. And also the government just borrowing this invisible money, picking money off that money tree that doesn't exist.
Yeah. And as I pointed out to our friend, like, this money isn't going to come from nowhere and it's not going to go away. Like, we are going to have to pay this back. Yeah. It's inevitable that it'll either be through taxes or pay freezes or, you know.
I mean, one of the options
sucks.
One of the options was like, was it increasing like the tax by like 1 or 2%?
Yeah.
Which isn't going to be a huge amount of money off of your monthly bill. But the danger is, of course, that will never go back down.
No,
20%. It will stay high because the government will go, oh, it's been working. You haven't noticed. Let's keep doing it.
But also, to be fair, like, if they're spending however many millions a month on the furlough scheme, for example, but it's not just the furlough scheme; it's all the policy that's going on around coronavirus. You know, the testing,
it's got this medical research has to be funded somehow.
And that's funded by government, and that's more money. You know, so. You can imagine that it's probably hundreds of billions of pounds at the moment. Yeah. That's going to take a few years to pay off. So it's unlikely to ever come down. It's like a war debt, you know?
It's And once it is paid off, it'll be like the economy will be in such a way that a tax rise was going to be inevitable anyway. They just did it a few years early. It's how money works, unfortunately. We are going to have to foot the bill as the public, but as much as we bitch and moan about how the government's handled this whole thing, and how they haven't helped the NHS in the past by cutting funding and stuff like that, the government doing what they're doing now is allowing us to get through this with as minimal impact as possible on our daily lives. But it is going to impact the economy on the grander scale. Yeah. And we just have to sort of see what happens. I mean, it's only going to get worse at the end of the year when the transition period ends.
Well, this is it, isn't it? I mean, they're already talking about kids going back to primary schools and possibly year
6 and year 7, I think it is. Yeah.
And I think possibly year 10 going into sixth form. Or going in sixth form, sorry.
No, so I think it's year 10 because it's the start of GCSEs. I know because we got an email from my daughter's school that they're going to start trialling it on the 1st of June. The plan they've got in place actually is quite reasonable. So I think it's going to be half of the year. Oh no, so they're going to invite 30 children or 50 children that have been struggling to access the educate, like the home stuff. They've not been able to keep up. They're going to invite them in for a trial for 1 or 2 weeks.
Right.
But they're going to be split into 2 or 3 classes so they can social distance. But they have to stay in those classrooms all day. Right. And it will, other than to go to the toilet. So they've got to take lunches with them. They've got to take food with them that they will be eating in the classroom. And the teachers will be going between the rooms. So they will come into the room, do the lesson, then leave the room. And then the next subject teacher will come in. So the kids will stay in one place. So they're not moving about the school. So once they've done that, if that works out, what they're going to do is invite the whole year back. But what they will do is half the year will go in Monday and Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, they will do a deep clean of the school. And then Thursday and Friday, the other half of the year will come in.
Okay.
But doing it the same way, where they stay in one classroom and the teachers move about, and then over the weekend they'll do a deep clean. So it's a plan that, you know, probably a bit too early, implemented a bit too early. But if that's what the government wants to do, you sort of have to try it, don't you?
Well, it sounds like
I think it's the best way to do it.
Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be down to individual councils as well now, rather than the government actually being able to tell. Yeah. Because there are some councils and some kind of, what do you call them, academies that are taking the view that it's too soon and they're not going to do it. I think Joe's school is possibly one of them. They're kind of umming and ahhing at the moment. Joe's school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it. Chloe's school is it is an academy, and this is something they've put out there. It's kind of like, this is the plan at the moment, but obviously if anything changes, but it's like, this is what we intend to do.
Yeah.
On the 1st of June, if we're going to go ahead, obviously, if the R number doesn't go up, then they'll continue. Oh, I saw that look. We've frozen. We've frozen.
I think Denmark. Yeah, you've frozen.
Yeah. I'm just there on the screen. But it's got your name in the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, you're a little bit robotic.
Yeah, you're robotic as well. Oh, you're now on my screen. Oh, we're back?
Yeah, I think we're back. Yeah.
Cool, yeah. So, we were saying about the R number and you winced. My internet connection.
No, I mean, I think it's just what I was. Yeah, it seems like the R numbers only just dipped below 1, possibly, if you believe what they were being told. And I don't know, like, if you start releasing kids out into the world, you know, I know they can't get it, but they can bring it home to families. The teachers could be, you know, it's weird. They've because the government's message has been so inconsistent. It's instilled a bit of fear into a lot of people, I think, because no one knows what to believe.
It's complete confusion. It's mad. It's mad.
And so now they're talking about easing the lockdown, even though a lot of people were after that. It now feels like people are a little bit more reticent, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, the guy who runs Weatherspoons, anyway. He's desperate to re-employ all those staff that he's sacked and told to go and get a job at Tesco. I don't know. Like, apparently Denmark, I think it's Denmark, opened primary schools a couple of weeks ago, and they saw a bit of a rise, but then it plateaued again quite quickly. So going by that, it's possible. It's, you know, that they're all right.
But the issue there is, how was it the country looking before they sent the kids back? Because I mean, our numbers, like if we look at the rate of deaths, because it's been, how long has it been since we started to ease the lockdown? Is it 1 or 2 weeks now? It's 2, isn't it? Yeah. So we're now at the point with the incubation period where we should start seeing a dip if everything went right, or a rise. But it seems that where our daily numbers were sort of consistently between 400 and 500, sometimes 600. So like you've got that 200 people range, like death rate, like deaths. Now they're sort of they've been 3, sometimes 500. So you still got.
Yeah,
it's not that much different.
It's
kind of really changed that much. So why have they eased the lockdown? And I mean, if you look at the rate of infection as well, like it's sort of on a level. It's not dipped anymore.
Yeah. And this is the thing. They keep claiming that things are getting better, but the graphs at the side demonstrate. You can see, like you say, it's a straight line, a slight.
Yeah, so
decline,
it was quite high at the start, and then obviously when lockdown was introduced, it did drop quite dramatically.
Yeah.
But since that initial drop, it's sort of up and down. It's not, So what caused them to think, hey, we can start easing it now?
And the answer to that is get the economy moving.
Which, understandably, the longer it goes on, the more we're going to suffer economically.
However, sending people out to work and to school and stuff increases the possibility of it getting worse and creating this second wave they don't want. I mean, I know they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's an impossible task to get everything right, but the point is they've been so shambolic with their messages
and
the last 9 weeks that no one really knows whether to go with it or not. And
it's like I said, the biggest issue we have in this country when it comes to sort of enforcing a lockdown is we can't enforce it. That's why they sort of did that whole social distance, or you can't go out unless you're doing this, unless you're doing that, unless you want to do it. And then, like we said before as well, like I go to and from work quite often, and I've never been stopped. I've only ever seen one police officer stopping, like talking to two guys on the field, and then she walked away after they showed us some ID. And it was like, that's the only police officer I've seen on foot approach anyone, and she had a mask on. But it tells you several things. It tells you that our police force are too few. We don't have enough police to enforce these rules. And the police that we do have to enforce the rules obviously don't feel like they've got enough power where they can actually do anything about it, because it's so up in the air. Nobody knows what the rules are. So she went over and talked to them, and they were just like casual, like, yeah, all right. They didn't seem worried that this police officer was coming up to them. I mean, you see videos of like Spain and Italy, like you see police rugby tackling people. Like, get the fuck home or come to prison. Like here, our police can't do that, because what will happen is there will be people up in arms protesting and suing the police force. It's mad, and that's why our numbers sort of plateaued and they stay steady. It's because there are still people going out.
Down. And actually, there are certain parts of the country that are kind of almost raising as well. Like Wales, I think is kind of almost still going up slightly.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like it all seems a little bit too early to be. They needed to have taken charge a lot sooner and stricter.
It needs to be stricter, but we don't have the infrastructure to enforce these strict rules. Like,
I'm actually, but to be fair as well, to kind of try and concentrate on the positives a little bit. Because this feels like an old school Anywhere But Here episode. We're having
we've had too many positive episodes.
To try and concentrate on the positive for a bit. It's amazing to me that the vast majority of people have, by and large, abided by the rules. It has been noticeably quieter.
For sure.
Road traffic-wise, and people have been getting out of each other's way. Less so in the last 2 weeks, I've got to be honest.
Not so much in the supermarkets either.
Once you're inside a building, people get a bit less.
When you're in a confined space where it's more dangerous, people get really close to you. When you're out in a park, people seem to make space for you.
But I genuinely thought that people would be more protest or not to
we're breaking up there.
a little bit like that heart, a little bit like is it last week?
Oh dear, you've completely disappeared now. Oh, are you back?
Have I? Yeah, I because you'd frozen and I couldn't hear anything, so I
you were
talking
and robotic and stuff. So wait, so the last bit I heard was you were expecting people to
kind of to riot and or protest in large gatherings and generally kind of disobey. I mean, we had that one in Hyde Park last weekend, I think.
Yeah, and annoyingly, it was right after the announcement of easing lockdown.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had a tinfoil hat on, you might say, isn't that a coincidence?
Mm-hmm.
So, then if the number did go up, then Boris could come out and go, those people ruined it for everyone. It wasn't the easing of the lockdown that did it.
So that protest could have been instigated by Boris. It's
anyway.
But but by and large, it seems people, kind of have played by the rules, which is almost the opposite. I thought, the majority of people would, but I thought there would be much more kind of people protesting against it.
Yeah. I mean, you are right. I mean, I went and picked Liz up from work the other day, and where I usually stop to pick her up, there's usually like a line of cars. I was the only car there. And, it's right in the middle of town, and I maybe saw 10 people. And it looked like they didn't have shopping bags or anything like that. They were just walking through town, getting their exercise, going to, I don't know what they were doing, visiting people, socially distancing.
Doing their once allowed daily thing. Although
for as long as you want now, and you can do it with somebody else. You can meet up with
one other person. Yeah.
But obviously you have to stay 2 meters apart. So, which Chloe has loved that, because last week she did a couple of times. She went. She phoned her friend and said, "Do you want to meet me?" And they were outside our house, and I was watching them through our living room window, and it was really nice. Like, Chloe was down the path and her friend was up the path, and they were just talking to each other. And they were doing their TikToks, but Chloe was like holding it up in the front, and her friend was in the background. And
right.
At that age, like, I think her friend's 10 or 11, and Chloe's 13, and even they are doing it sensibly. But it was really nice to see them being responsible, actually.
No, it's good. It's good. I think because it must be really difficult for kids. Like, although to be fair, they've grown up with this kind of thing, Zoom or whatever, talking via the internet.
That's it. I think Chloe FaceTimes her friends a lot, so she's used to maybe not seeing them but talking to them through FaceTime and stuff. Yeah.
I think again, it kind of goes back to something that we mentioned a couple of episodes ago. Is like, if this had happened when we were kids and the internet wasn't as much of a thing, like it was chat rooms, wasn't it? It was message boards and stuff. It wasn't
MSN chat.
There was no audio visual thing. I mean, YouTube wasn't even a thing, was it?
No.
I think.
No, and if you wanted to watch any videos online, you had to download them to your computer first.
Yeah.
Little real media clips, like 6 megabyte real media clips, the size of a stamp.
Yeah. I think it would have been harder, but then also there wasn't the 24-hour rolling news cycle. I don't know how we'd have reacted.
Do you know what? I probably, again, I've always been an introvert. I did used to like going out and seeing my mates, but I'd have been quite happy to stay at home. I probably would have just got my pad of paper and drawn. I probably would have read some comic books. When I say comic books, I'm talking Beano, not Marvel.
Yeah.
I probably would have found stuff to do. I would have been all right, I think. I mean, my brother had a snooker table up in the bedroom, so... And again, like you got your brother, I had siblings, so like someone like Liz, only child, she used to her life was going out and seeing her friends when she was a kid. She had a big garden though, So I don't know. It's one of those things. Like it is as kids. If we'd have known what we had now and gone back in time and had to deal with what we like, if it happened now and we said, right, no technology, no Virgin or Sky, no internet, all you've got is this pad of paper and a pile of books. You're not allowed to see anyone. Having had this technology, it's difficult to imagine what we would have done without it. But if you look back at the time, I had a cupboard full of games, board games and things like that. We used to just do things as a family unit. Yeah,
I guess so.
It's what I would have done back then is kind of what I hope Chloe would do with us now, is sit and play games. And she does, she's like, can we play Mario Kart? And the games we're playing just happen to be centered around the technology we have. And she likes to sit and join in, like she watches us play those Jackbox games when we do our weekly meetups. She enjoys that. In actual fact, yesterday she called me a muff puff. So we were talking, we were throwing insults at each other, and she just turned around and went muff puff. And I had to concede. I had to concede that one. It was brilliant.
That's genius. I love it.
Which is something we came up with in our Jackbox games. Unfortunately,
slight in-jokes, but then we've always been about the in-jokes.
Yeah. But there are going to be people who will laugh at that when they hear it. But I think we would have been all right back then.
I'd have probably sunk like hundreds of hours into Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
As well. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Speaking of which, did you know Final Fantasy VIII is available on Nintendo Switch?
Is it?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it.
I've got another copy. I've got another copy of it now.
How many copies is this now? Obviously, you got the PS1 version.
I had it on PS1. Yeah. I don't have it anymore. No, didn't get it on PS3
or 4 actually. Probably.
I think I got it on the PS4 and I got it on my laptop, and now I've got it on the Switch as well. And I've still never finished it. The closest I got was on the PS1. But do you remember I said I was right at the end of disc 3?
Yeah. And someone...
I was like on the last battle of disc 3, and then I lent it to someone, and then they broke it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get on to disc 4.
That's so annoying.
Yeah. Really annoying.
It was the same with me with Final Fantasy VII, though. Like, I owned Final Fantasy VII like 2 or 3 times, and every single version that I owned, disc 2 was scratched.
Oh, really? Fucking hell.
Yeah, so I never got on to disc 2. Never. So yeah, that's why I don't have an affinity with Final Fantasy VII. It's because it was physically impossible for me to finish the game.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even get onto disc 3, let alone disc 2 I couldn't get onto.
So what brought this on? Let's make people aware. And I think we've had the discussion, I think, with Paul on the episode anyway.
Yeah.
On the podcast. So our old our mate Cornwall Paul, who's no longer Cornwall Paul.
No, he's Wales Paul now.
Yeah, he's Welsh Paul now. I don't know. Anyway, but I think you did the 10 video games for 10 days. Well, you did it all on one
because lump. I was challenged to it, and I was too busy doing it.
Final Fantasy VIII as one of your influential video games, because it is for you. Yeah. And
for me.
Was it Luke or was it Paul that
Luke.
He said he put 8, really?
Yeah.
And then
so I said, you never forget your first.
It's your first Final Fantasy, and then Paul obviously jumped in. But to say, it's but you explained your reason for picking it, and and he admitted he did. He played it last year, didn't he? I remember him doing his Facebook post for it as he was playing through it, and he said he enjoyed it. It has its flaws. It's nowhere near his favourite.
Yeah, I mean. I agree with all the things that he
There's
says.
Definitely stuff wrong with it.
I think the thing with Paul is that he's very articulate.
Oh, yeah.
And he also likes a lot of things. It's just that he does pick on certain things that mean something to us occasionally.
Yeah, of course.
And, like the Final Fantasy VIII thing, like that whole thing with Irvin being a character when he's absolute bullshit is completely legitimate. Like, he's a shit character.
And do you know what? Every fucking time I start this game up and I'm playing, as soon as it's when you're on your way out to go on your first mission, and you get met at the bottom, and like, here's your team captain. Oh, and then there's this fucking dickhead who's doing all these flips and punches. Oh, I can't stand that guy. Zell. I can't stand him with his stupid face tattoo. Like, it's definitely a product of the time. When Final Fantasy came out. Yeah, but I can't stand that character at all. Like, it's so annoying that he's in it from so early on. But hey, you know. Yeah. But like we say, it's the first one that we played. Like, it's the first one I played for any substantial amount of time. I had watched my dad play Final Fantasy VII beforehand.
Right.
Like, I sat and watched my dad play the whole game. And yeah, it was incredible. But obviously, where I hadn't played it, I probably wasn't invested in it quite so much. Final Fantasy VIII was the one that I played myself for a long time, and I spent hours on that game. Final Fantasy IX, I've never seen any of it. I've only ever seen the artwork.
9's really good. I do really like 9.
Yeah, okay. It's one I'll have to look into. And then 10 is one that I sat and watched someone play as well.
Right.
But, you know, 8 is the only one that I've spent any substantial amount of time with. Like 12, I played a little bit of. 13, I put quite a few hours into it. That's a very linear one. It's very different.
Yes.
It's very different.
Yeah, that's where I jumped off.
I quite like it. Like, from the amount I've played on it, like, I'm quite interested in the story, and I think it's quite interesting, and visually it's incredible. But again, 8 is the one, you know, and I'll be playing it. And do you know what? The Nintendo Switch is a fantastic console to play a game like that on.
Is it?
For me, I think, because yes, I could play it on the TV, but I can also take it to work with me and play during my break. And because I don't have time to sit for hours and play games like that now, it'd be great if I'm going somewhere or doing something. Like, if we ever get to go on holiday again, I can't wait to take my Switch on an airplane and just sit and play. And on an airplane, I'd probably play something like Final Fantasy VII. And then I might at some point pull the tray down, stick it down and go, here, Chloe, here's a controller. Let's play Mario Kart. Like, because you can do that. It's, you know, we all joked about it when we saw it on the advert for the Switch. It's like, oh, who pulls one of them out and plays when you're on the bus? Or you can, and you would.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo are great at that kind of co-op kind of sharing an experience with games.
Yeah.
Where they don't have AAA titles, for example, they do have a lot of cooperative, like, people in the same room playing the same game, which you just don't get on a lot of consoles, a lot of games anymore.
I think the last console that really did that quite well, I think, was the PS1, when you had that right angle multi-tapper.
Yes.
Multi-point.
Yeah. And
then
I
think that was the last time you really had proper co-op experience with your mates.
Yeah, definitely. You know, because everything's gone online, and you know, that's fine, but it's not really for me. I'm not an online gamer.
No,
but yeah, I've even stopped playing. Playing Assassin's Creed because it's the only thing that I'm playing at the moment. Quite as much as I was in the early days of lockdown. I've even kind of stopped doing that. So yeah.
But I think probably I don't know, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but probably one of the reasons for that is during this lockdown is when you sort of released the first episode of Banned Biographies, and looking at it, you've got a lot of really positive feedback. So I'm pretty sure that's fueled you into, like, being in a mega creative mode. And I imagine you're putting a hell of a lot of time into writing and recording at the minute. While you've got the time.
It's something that I'm going to release the next episode on Friday.
Okay. Good.
But I've still got, I think I've edited something like 20 minutes of it. So
you got quite a bit of time editing ahead of you.
Yeah. So that's going to take.
How long is this one?
As it stands right now, it's about an hour and 10 minutes. So it'll probably end up being another 90 minutes.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
But that does depend.
So I mean, 20 minutes. You're a good way into it anyway.
Yeah, I've done.
And I think
like,
once you find, now you've done 20 minutes, I think, I imagine I've not edited anything long.
basically,
once you found the rhythm of the episode, it's probably easier. It probably gets faster to edit the rest of the episode because you know what it should sound like. And
what I've done this time is I edited all the talking together. So I've done all that. And then I listened to it through. And as I was listening to it, I wrote down what songs should go in where.
Okay.
Then I went and got those songs.
Mm.
And now I'm going in and just placing songs. That's all I'm doing. So it's really not going to take, hopefully.
Oh, okay.
So I'm splitting the editing up into different jobs.
Yeah.
There's the first edit where you take all the fuck ups out. And the pauses where I'm definitely checking my shit.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I need to go back and definitely check that that's correct. And the like fluffed lines and clicks and mouth noises.
Yeah.
And then the second time is just to listen through it to make sure it actually makes sense in a linear fashion and to make notes of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then the third run through is putting the soundtrack in.
Yeah.
But what I have figured out is there's a mistake in the first 5 minutes of the episode. God. And so I have to re-record that at some point because I've made an absolute howler that I didn't realise when I wrote it, didn't realise when I read it, and haven't realised until I went back and listened through to it. Missed it the first time I listened through to it. And only the second time when I was putting the music cues in, I was like, no, that's wrong. Yeah, he's not that guy. He's the other guy. Another guy with the surname Jones. Different band.
Oh, hell.
So I do have a little bit of re-recording to do, but only hopefully that one line.
So how? Oh my God! It's like I'm interviewing a podcast. I guess. I mean.
Well, we haven't had any guests call in yet,
and you are like I've decided you're now talking about your new podcast. Get more people interested.
Basically, what I've been doing.
Obviously, where you recorded the first episode quite a while ago now, and this one is obviously is you now with all the experience and like stuff like that. So, like, how is it different to the first episode? Or is it different? Should I say?
It's hard
Obviously,
to say, really.
Subject matter, story is completely different, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of how you've just told the narrative and how you've recorded it.
Trying. The problem is the episode that I'm going to be doing on Friday is going to be about the Damned. Mm-hmm. And the Damned split up and got back together almost every year.
Okay.
And they're still creating music today. So it was really hard to kind of get a linear, like, this is what happened this year and this year and this year and this year. Because it was like, and then they broke up. And then Captain Sensible had a solo career and Dave Vanian went and did this. And the other guy went off and did that.
And then they got back together.
At some point they got back together, but his solo career kept going. There was also this side project at the same time. So it's been a real, it's taken a lot of like going over and being like, I don't know whether that fits, whether I should leave the side projecty bit until afterwards. Like it's been I
can imagine that's because you obviously this is an episode about the Damned and the members of the Damned, and those members went off and had their solo projects, but how important are those solo projects to the story of the Damned? Should I include them in the timeline, like as they happened, or do you talk about them after the fact? Or
because the Sex Pistols one was very simple. It was like the Sex Pistols were around for like a year and a half.
That's crazy, man.
And then it imploded.
Yeah.
And then they all went off and did their own thing, and that was very much like, so Sid Vicious completely fucked up and died. That was very, that was.
It's like the biggest fuck up you can have, really, isn't it? Dying. What a sad story, though.
Oh, it's horrendous. And there are bits of it that I didn't know as well. The whole bit about like no funeral parlor in New York.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Like,
take his body, like fucking horrible.
Yeah.
and then it was like, well, Paul Cook and Jones went off and they did some stuff together, and there were these little bands and they've done stuff. And then, but the big one obviously is Johnny Rotten, who, you know, formed Public Image Limited, which was arguably a more successful band in its own right.
But
and then like became a bit of a celebrity, and like it is still kind of, I wouldn't say relevant, but like he still crops up every now and then to you know, stick his oar in. But yeah, so that was very easy. It was like, this is the Sex Pistols, everything fucked up, and then they all went off and did this. Yeah,
this is Sex Pistols. This is pre-Sex Pistols. This is Sex Pistols. This is post-Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
Whereas the Damned, like, it's
the Damned. It's like, this is the Damned, and then it wasn't the Damned anymore, and then these three things happened. But then the Damned also got back together, and these three things were still going.
Yeah, and then the Damned broke up again.
Yeah, and again and again and again. So, it's been more challenging to piece together.
Yeah.
I think I've got it right.
It's a very difficult second episode.
Yeah. Whereas the Gen X Billy Idol one, that is recorded, written, done. I've got that done. I just need to figure out what music's going to go in. I know basically what's going to go in that one. That one, I started the writing after starting the Damned, and then was like, this is much easier to write. I'm going to do this one. And then I had to come back to the Damned because I wanted it to be the second
what's
episode.
What's the thinking of that though? Why did you want the Damned second?
Because they actually did everything first.
Oh, okay.
They released their first single before the Sex Pistols did. They released the first album before the Sex Pistols did. They toured America.
Okay.
Way before the Sex Pistols did. They actually did everything first. But they're just
interesting.
They're not as well known for that because they just
like, this is what everyone knows as punk.
Yeah.
These are the most influential. These are the people heralded as the punk movement.
Yeah.
And then the second episode is like, this is actually the start of the punk movement.
And they're still going.
Yeah.
Like they broke up a bunch.
Okay. It makes sense to do it that way, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you explain it, it makes sense to do that. It's like, here's where you think it started. Here's where it actually started.
This is, yeah. But then then I was like, after the first two albums, they become like a goth band.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I know them more in the goth.
Kind of Eloise.
I don't know much. I don't know much of their music, but when you say the Damned, I don't think punk.
No, exactly.
I don't think punk as in Sex Pistols punk. I think punk more like Misfits, AFI punk.
Right. Yeah. Kind of horror inflected.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely where they're more known for.
Yeah.
But the early stuff, you'll know a couple of songs, I think.
Oh, undoubtedly, I'd know quite a lot of their music if I heard it. I think I used to play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Like, I'm sure there's one or two songs in there.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, have you seen the announcement?
No.
Tony Hawk's announcement. Was you a fan of Tony Hawk's?
I had 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Which
was
I
had one.
Mad Capsule Markets.
Okay. Yeah, I had 1, 2, 3, 4 underground. Yeah, I had most of them. Yeah. They've remade, not remastered. They've remade like the Final Fantasy VII remake. They've remade Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 as one. Yeah. Like it's going to be one game: Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remade or remaster.
Oh, that would be cool.
So fucking, and it's like the original music as well. Like it's.
So they haven't updated the soundtrack.
Nope, soundtrack's not updated. No new stuff. Oh god, we've lost again.
Are we still there? Are you still there?
We're back.
Yeah.
We're back. I stopped.
So they haven't updated the soundtrack then?
No. So it's the same songs. It's the same soundtrack. It's the same levels, but just updated in terms of their looks and stuff like that. So I can't fucking wait.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm looking forward to it so much. But anyway.
They were great games. They were brilliant games. But I think the only reason that I ever bought, I only ever had 3 is because I was like, well, it's brilliant. I don't know whether I need another one. I used to play Tony Hawk's 3, I think, for years. It was one of those games that I picked up and put down.
Kept going back to.
Yeah.
I think 2 was probably my favourite. 3 was really good, though. Because I think, isn't 2 where they introduced the revert and the manual, so you could really string together a lot of tricks?
Right, yeah.
So, like, number 1, you didn't have the revert. You had the manual, but you couldn't... Cause it was the trick... this is so good. The secret behind, like, stringing together the tricks was after you've gone up the quarter pipe, as you come back down, you do the revert.
Yeah.
Don't you? So you spin and then go straight into a manual.
Yeah.
Whereas you couldn't do that in number 1.
Okay, right.
So I think number 2 was where they introduced that, and I think number 3 is where they introduced where you could go from one ramp over to the next.
Yeah.
Where you go across the 2, I believe.
Yeah. You could do that. I remember that. But it was just they were brilliant games, and I might have to give that a look. When's it out? Do you know?
Fucking good question. Soon, I think. But I think it was Jack Black and Tony Hawk made the announcement.
Right.
Because why not? Why not?
Because also, I suppose, for me as well, Tony 3 was around the time of Jackass, and Bam Margera was on it.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
All that. So that was another reason that I got into it. But where Gran Turismo opened me up to bands like Muse and Feeder and Ash, Tony Hawk's opened me up to AFI and Mad Capsule Markets and bands like that. That was really cool. Yeah.
It's out in September, I believe, 20th of September. 4th of September, sorry.
Yeah.
And like PS4, like September, PS4. Will the 5 be out by then? I don't know. But Argos have got it listed for like 40 quid. For Tony Hawk's 1 and 2. Like, well worth it.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're going to get your money's worth out of it.
Well, you can buy it with a skateboard deck for 90 quid. Why? I don't know.
Dear.
Anyway.
No, I don't know.
But yeah, I can't wait, man. It's going to be good. And I should have probably finished Last of Us 2 by then.
You've frozen again.
There's
going to be a bit of editing on this one, isn't there?
I don't know, man. It's not too bad, is it? It's not too bad. I think it'll be fine. There's a lot of video editing as well, which I do like doing, but
you'd rather not.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I think we'll have to have a look at it and see how it comes out. But yeah, Last of Us Part 2 will be the one I'll play next, I should think.
Yes. Was that put back?
A couple of times, I think.
Yeah.
And then it was completely spoiled, but I've managed to avoid that so far.
Yeah, I haven't read any of
now,
that
if I ever see new trailer release, I'm like, I don't care.
No.
I'm not clicking anything because there's going to be comments spoiling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm interested in that coming out. I want to see what they've done.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people who have read the spoilery stuff saying it's a mess and it's not going to be great and stuff, but I will save. I reserve judgment. It's not going to be as impactful as the first one because it was something totally new. And
the writing was astounding. Like, the writing was amazing.
Yeah. And everyone ended it really pissed off, I think.
Yeah. But for different reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joel, man, what a prick. Making that decision for her. It's not what she would have wanted.
No. But it does make you wonder, like, how that relationship is going to be.
When she finds... Because she's going to find out.
Yeah.
I can't wait, man. It's so good.
It really is. We're coming up to the hour mark.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nobody
joined us. Oh, well.
Nobody joined us, which is fine. Doesn't matter.
No.
In fact, it's been quite nice, just the two of us.
Yeah.
For the first time in a month and a half.
Yeah, I mean,
episodes.
we only put it out to the All Seen Guys this week. just because, like, you know, we kind of want to mix it up. We don't want to have the same group every week in, week out. I'm not, you know, not there's any reason. I'm sure the conversation would have been great, but you know, like you say, it's nice just to have the two of us.
Variation. Variation. I think we should try and get Daniel's son.
Yes.
On at some point, and probably open it up to some of the Americans as well.
Yeah, obviously we'll
do it later in the day so that they can join in.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. I know there's definitely one who is chomping at the bits, shall we say?
Definitely, but yeah, we're aware of the fact we do it relatively early on a Sunday UK time.
Yeah. You know.
So
it'd be really early US time.
Yeah, but, and you know, maybe he is up and about at this time of the day, but.
We just need to talk to him. That's all we need to do.
We do, really. Yeah. Communication. That thing.
Yeah, that thing that we're really shit at.
Yeah.
But no, look out for the next episode of Banned Biographies next week.
Yes, please do. It's great. I'll be looking out for it.
I'm building up traction on the socials as well.
Mate, I've seen that. You've got some... Yeah. I mean, your Instagram's doing really well.
Yeah, it's doing all right.
Apparently, Instagram's the place to be.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's pretty vocal as well, to be fair. Yeah. But the one that isn't is Facebook.
Yeah.
Go figure, old people.
Yeah. I've noticed, I really enjoy the Instagram. I mean, you post it out on Facebook and Twitter as well.
I do,
I see it mostly on Instagram, the Today in Rock History or whatever. They're really interesting. There's some really interesting things in there.
I just figured, like, if my show's a monthly show, I can't update every week with stuff that's to do with the show. So why not try and build an audience who are into music?
Yeah, and I think it's really important to, like you're doing at the minute, is keeping up that constant flow of information and stuff like that. It's really good. I
recorded a little interstitial episode at the beginning of the week where I was like, I'm going to shout out these people who've got in touch. And actually since then, so many more people have been in touch that I actually need to re-record bits of that to be like, no, there's too many. Or just maybe take out the section where I'm calling out people specifically.
Or just make a note, like put out the one that you've done so far, leave a note, and then if you do another one, shout out the other people. You know, can't include everyone all the time.
No, I know.
I know you feel bad when you leave people out, but I
do, especially when you make a point of being like, these couple of people I don't even know, and they got and now loads of people that I don't know have got in contact with me. So like,
which is really good.
I mean, this really week it's really kind of ramped up. This week, it's going to start becoming a thing where I'm going to have to really kind of choose when I go on there and when I don't.
I think it's gonna be one of those things where you're gonna have to say, right, on Thursdays at this time I will be active, or every day this half hour every day I'll be active.
For like half an hour to an hour at most each day.
You can't commit to just like replying to people as and when they message you, because you will if it keeps going the way it's going, you won't ever have any time to yourself.
No, exactly. And I'll need to quit my job, and I'm not making any money from it, so that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Not yet. Not yet. Who knows? But yes, so it's all good. I mean, it's been nice to kind of just talk about normal things this week rather than all lockdown. I mean, obviously everything is encompassed lockdown, but it's been nice to kind of talk about games and
back to the old style, because there is stuff happening as well, like in the world of entertainment. So
things are still going ahead, things are still happening. So I'm looking forward to the Tony Hawk's thing. I'm going to keep an eye on that.
And it looks good. It looks pretty.
All right. For this week, I've been Tom.
I've been Ant.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.